Welcome to the I Can Crochet That YouTube channel. Today we are learning how to make the Tunisian crochet sweater scarf pattern. I'm using a self-striping yarn and a solid color yarn, and the scarf is a very simple construction. We start with a very long rectangle, and then we switch to regular crochet to do the sleeves on each of the ends. And I've designed it to where you do not have to fasten off this yarn whenever you are making the sleeves. So we'll make the entire rectangle, and then we'll do a single crochet border down one edge. Then we'll do the sleeves on the end, one of the sleeves on the end. We'll seam the sleeve together, do a single crochet border all the way down the other side, make those sleeves on the other side, seam them together, and then we will fasten off. So it's one long piece. The only thing you're having to fasten off is the self-striping yarn when you are ready to do the sleeves. So really simple construction, and it uses a no curl stitch, which is one of my favorite ones. If you've been around here for a while, you know that I am obsessed with the Tunisian half double crochet stitch because of the fact that it doesn't curl and then just the incredible texture. So for this sample scarf, I am using Mandala, and this is the color Troll. It's very bright, very pretty. And then I'm using Lion Brand Pound of Love in Sugar Cookie, I believe is what it's called. Yes, this is Sugar Cookie. Okay, let's get started. So we're gonna start with the long rectangle, the main body piece of the scarf. And for the Tunisian half double crochet stitch, you can chain any number. It doesn't have to be odd or even number. You can chain any number. For today's sample, we will chain 16. So starting with the solid color yarn. And if you already know how to do the half double crochet stitch, you don't even really need to watch this part. You can fast forward to where I'm doing the sleeves. So this is just for those of you who have never done this stitch, or maybe you need a refresher. So again, like I said, we're going to chain 16. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, and 16. And if you're wondering what hook I'm using, this is a long Tunisian crochet hook. It has, you see a stopper here on the end, and this is Furls 6.5 millimeter. This is part of their, I believe it's their ombre line, maple ombre line, limited edition. So I have really enjoyed using these hooks for projects that aren't blankets that don't require a cable. So, all right, so I chained 16. Now, for Tunisian crochet, what we're going to do is usually you'll go bring up a loop, or like regular crochet, you do your stitch inside the front of the chain. But for Tunisian crochet, we turn it over and you look for those back bumps. See those back bumps? And that is what we're going to bring up a loop in. Just gives it a really nice clean edge and looks really nice. And I've actually started doing my regular crochet projects in the back bump. And I've learned to chain my chain a little bit loose so that it's easier to go into those back bumps, because if you don't chain it loose, then those back bumps will be a huge pain to put your hook under. So, all right, so we're looking for that second back bump from the hook. So there's the first one, there's the second one. And the half double crochet stitch for Tunisian crochet, we yarn over every single time. You're going to yarn over and bring up a loop. So this is the foundation. So yarn over, look for that second back bump, insert your hook underneath, yarn over, bring up a loop. Got 3 loops on your hook. Yarn over again, look for that next back bump, insert your hook under there, yarn over, bring up a loop. Yarn over, find the next back bump, yarn over, bring up a loop. So you're yarning over, inserting your hook under the back bump, and bringing up a loop all the way across. And for this scarf, I really like the way that it looks when we change colors before the return or on the return pass. And I'll show you what I'm talking about. Okay, we're coming up to that last back bump. Yarn over, find that last back bump, insert your hook underneath, yarn over, bring up a loop. So as you can see, because since we're yarning over, it creates a lot more loops on your hook than stitches where we're not yarning over. So now, like I said, I really like the way this scarf looks whenever I change colors on the return pass instead of changing colors on the forward pass. But I do know a lot of people have told me, or some people have told me, they do not like changing colors on the return pass because of getting the tension right on this end can be a little tricky, in that they find it easier to change colors on the forward pass. So really it's just a preference. If you want to change color on the forward pass, then I'll explain what you would do when we get down there. But for this pattern, we're changing colors on the return pass. So we just finished our last stitch, and now we're going to bring in that new color, and you're basically chaining one with that new color. This color, solid color, is just kind of hanging out here until we're going to grab it on the return pass for the next row. Okay, so we've brought in our new color, we've chained one, and now we're going to yarn over and go through 3 loops on our hook. Yarn over again and pull through 1, 2, 3 loops on our hook. We're going to yarn over and pull through 3 loops on our hook all the way across. Now this is not your traditional Tunisian crochet return pass. Usually you're yarning over and pulling through 2 loops on your hook, but since we have an extra loop, we're pulling through 3 loops on our hook. Now if we were changing colors on the forward pass, we would bring in the new color when we had 3 loops left on our hook. All right, yarn over, pull through 3. And that is our foundation row. Now we are ready to do row 1. So for this stitch, since we've done the yarn over, we have these little extra loops right here. So the ones that are kind of sideways over here, going a little bit sideways, those are the yarn overs that we did. These right here are the main bars. And in Tunisian crochet, you have the front loop, and then you've got the front bar, and then you also have this back bar back here, that back bar. So for this stitch, oh, I'm losing my loop here. So for this stitch, we're going to yarn over. We're not going to go in this first bar. We're not going to go in the second bar, but we're going to find those next 2 bars, which is the main vertical bar and that yarn over. We're going to yarn over and we're going to insert our hook underneath both of those bars. Again, skip the first one, skip this little second one, yarn over and bring up a loop underneath both of those. And we're going to do that all the way across, yarning over and bringing up a loop underneath both of those vertical bars. Okay, so give it a little tug here, yarn over, skip that first one, that second one, find the third and fourth bars, insert your hook underneath both of those at the same time, yarn over, bring up a loop. Again, yarn over, find the next 2 vertical bars, insert your hook under both of those, yarn over, pull up a loop. Yarn over, insert your hook under both, pull up a loop. And we're doing that all the way across until we get to the end. Another thing I love about this stitch is how soft and squishy it makes your project. Just something about this stitch that it's got a great texture, it doesn't curl, and then it's just really soft and squishy, which we all want that, right, for our handmade items. Okay, so we have our vertical bar on the end here, and then these two. So these are our last two, or this is our last stitch, and these are two second to last. So yarn over, find those next two vertical bars, yarn over, pull up a loop. Now we've got our last vertical bar here, and it's kind of hard to tell since I brought in this new color, so I'll go through this again on the next row. But for the side stitch, you turn it towards you, and there's the front vertical bar and then the back vertical bar. And so we want to turn it towards you, and you want to insert your hook underneath both of those at the same time. So like I said, it's a little hard to see on this side, but I will do it again on the next row. It'll be a little bit easier to see. So again, turning it towards you, there's that front loop, that back loop, go under both of those, yarn over, pull up a loop. And now we are ready to switch back to the solid color. So drop this mandala, pull up the solid color yarn, and we're going to chain one with that. Chain one. You might need to give that a little bit of a tug. And it's just the same thing. For the return pass, yarn over, pull through 1, 2, 3 loops on your hook. Yarn over, pull through 1, 2, 3, yarn over, 1, 2, 3. So we're going to do that all the way across. Three loops left on our hook, yarn over, pull through all three. And there's the first row. Okay, let's do it again. So again, we're skipping that first vertical bar and that second vertical bar, and you're looking for the next two vertical bars. So skipping that one, yarning over and finding those next two ones and inserting your hook under both. So I always like to give this a little bit of a tug when it's on my hook so that I've got a nice clean edge here. Yarn over, skip the first, the second, find those next ones, insert your hook under both, yarn over, pull up a loop. Yarn over, find the next two vertical bars, yarn over, pull up a loop. You're going to yarn over and insert your hook under both of those vertical bars all the way across until you get to the end. And it'll be a little bit easier on this row to see that last Tunisian stitch, so I can show you how to do that edge stitch. Let me pull my yarn here a little bit, get a little bit tangled. Okay, we're coming up to the last 3 stitches. And then here's the last one, the last Tunisian stitch. Again, turn it towards you. This is the front vertical bar of the edge, and this is the back vertical bar of the edge. So the front, they will be the 2 different colors. So the front is this blue, the mandala, the back is the pound of love. So turn it towards you, and you're going to insert your hook. You're going to yarn over and then insert your hook underneath both of those vertical bars. Yarn over, turn it towards you, go under that one, the front and the back. And this just gives it a nice clean edge. and make sure that it's nice and straight. All right, drop the solid color, bring in the mandala again, give it a little bit of a tug there, and chain 1. And then yarn over, pull through 3. Yarn over, pull through 3. So it's a pretty simple, basic stitch that I think once you get the hang of it, you will love it for the texture, the no curl factor, and just the squishiness of the project. All right, let's do a couple more rows together. Again, give your yarn a little bit of tug here. Yarn over, skip the first 2, look for those next 2, insert your hook under both, yarn over, pull up a loop. Do that all the way across. Okay, coming up to the last 3 bars, yarn over, insert your hook under those next 2, pull up a loop, turn it towards you, find that front vertical bar and that back vertical bar. Remember, they'll always be opposite colors. Do not forget that yarn over. That's the most common issue with this stitch, is forgetting the yarn over before going into that edge stitch, that last Tunisian stitch. So see, I've gone under the front and the back vertical bar, yarn over, pull up a loop. Now drop the mandala, bring in the solid color, chain 1, give everything just a little bit of a tug so that it's not too loose. Then yarn over, pull through 3. Yarn over, pull through 3, all the way across. And I want to show you why I like changing the color on the return pass so much. Let me show that to you for a second. So the cool thing about changing the color on the return pass is how it just really mixes the colors. So if I didn't change it on the return pass, this blue right here would be the solid color. But I like how the blue, how the contrasting color is underneath that row. Does that make sense? So now you've got the blue here, and underneath on the return pass is the solid color. So it just gives it kind of a really cool little woven look. So if you changed it again on the forward pass, then it would be more of a, I guess, more visual stripes instead of kind of this woven look. Let's do a few more rows together with me not talking, and then I will go off camera and do more of the square of the swatch so that I can show you how to do the single crochet border for the edge of the scarf leading up to our sleeve. So I have a small swatch here, and I want to show you how to do the bind off row before we move on. So now we are going to do the bind off row with the Pound of Love yarn. So we are done with the self-striping, the mandala yarn, so we can just fasten that off and just pretend you have one really, really long rectangle and just fasten that off. And now we're ready to finish off the body of the scarf. So the bind off row, again, with the solid color yarn. Again, we're skipping those first 2 vertical bars, finding the next 2, just like the stitch you've been doing, except we're not going to yarn over. You're going to insert your hook underneath both of those vertical bars, yarn over, pull up a loop, and instead of leaving this loop on your hook, you're going to pull through the other loop on your hook. So let me do that again. Find the next 2 vertical bars, insert your hook, yarn over, bring up a loop, and then pull through the loop on your hook. Insert your hook under both vertical bars, yarn over, bring up a loop, and then pull through the loop on your hook. So this bind off is making sure that the 2 edges match each other. Because if we didn't do a bind off, this is what it would look like. It would just be kind of these open stitches here. So doing the bind off gives it a really nice finish, and it matches the foundation row. So you're going to do the bind off all the way across, going under both of those vertical bars, and then pulling through the loop on your hook. Now we're at the last 3 stitches. And that edge stitch, same thing. Go under both the front and the back vertical bar, yarn over, pull up a loop, and pull through the loop on your hook. Now we're not going to fasten off this color. Now you're going to switch to your regular crochet hook. And this is size 5. Again, this is a furls hook. So switch to the regular crochet hook. We've fastened off the self-striping yarn, the mandala yarn. Now we're ready to do the single crochet border. So how this is made is you've got your really long rectangle, did your bind off row. Now we're going to turn it sideways, and we're going to single crochet down the edge to give it a really nice clean edge. And then we're going to slip stitch to the first stitch of our foundation row and start this sleeve over here. And then we'll do the sleeve, we'll seam the sleeves together, and then we'll do a single crochet border down this side, do the sleeve on this end, seam them together, and then fasten off, and you're done. So like I said, you don't have a bunch of ends to weave in. So switch to that 5mm hook, chain 1, turn it sideways, and you're going to do a single crochet border on the edge in every row on the edge. So you're going to go under, just like the edge stitch when we're doing the stitch, we're going to go under both of those vertical bars to do the regular crochet. So a single crochet, if you've never done a single crochet, insert your hook underneath both the front and vertical bar, yarn over, bring up a loop. You've got 2 loops on your hook, yarn over, pull through 2. That's a single crochet. So just do a single crochet on each row on the edge here. One more row. And now you're going to turn it this way, and you're going to look for that first stitch from your foundation row, and we're going to slip stitch into that because this is how we're going to start building the sleeve. So you just did a single crochet in that last row. Now find the first stitch from the foundation row, insert your hook underneath both of those loops, do a slip stitch, and then now we're going to do the chains to start our sleeve. So that's the next part of the video. In the next part of the video, I have the very long rectangle body piece for the sweater scarf, and then we will do all the sleeves together. So move on to the next step. I hope you enjoyed that stitch, and it's time to do the sleeves. Now we are ready to move on to the sleeve portion. We finished the very, very long piece for the main scarf. Now we're moving on to the sleeve. So this is where I did my bind off row right here on that sample piece I just did. This is the bind off row, and then I fastened off the mandala yarn and kept the solid color yarn on here, and then I single crocheted all the way down the edge of this piece. As you can see, it's very, very long. This is kind of tricky to do on video here. And now I single crocheted all the way down and stopped right here, because now we're going to do the sleeves. So after you do that last single crochet in the edge, you're going to turn it this way, and this is the short edge of the scarf. Turn it this way, and you single crocheted in that last row. Now find that the first stitch from the edge, and you're going to slip stitch into that first stitch. Slip stitch. And now we are ready to do our chain to start building the sleeve. Now this is the size, this is the extra small, small, and medium size sample piece. So for that one, we are going to chain 44. So after you do your slip stitch, now chain 44. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, 31, 32, 33, 34, 35, 36, 37, 38, 39, 40, 41, 42, 43, and 44. Okay, we have our 44 chains. And now we are going to do a single crochet in the second chain from your hook. So there's the first chain, there's the second chain. Going to do a single crochet. So insert your hook, yarn over, pull up a loop. You've got 2 loops on your hook. Yarn over, pull through 2. That is a single crochet. So you're going to single crochet into every single chain all the way down, and you should have 43 single crochets. And like I said, this is just a simple single crochet ribbed stitch, and what gives it that ribbing effect is that on the rest of the chains we are going to single crochet in the back loop only to give it that ribbed look. Okay, we're coming up to those last 2 chains. So that should be 42 and 43. There you've got one very long single crochet row. Now, if you're new to crochet, I would highly recommend taking a stitch marker and marking that last single crochet that you did. And I'll show you why now. Okay, so we're going to slip stitch into the next 2 chains. So slip stitch into that one, and then slip stitch into that one. So slip stitch in the next 2 and then turn. And the reason I said to mark it is because if you are just starting out, if this marker wasn't here, you would be like, where do I put my crochet hook? So it can kind of be a little bit tricky to spot that. But if you mark it, it'll just help you make sure that you are putting your hook into the right spot. So we can take that off. And now we are going to single crochet into that first single crochet from the row before, and we're going to single crochet under both loops. Now for the rest of them until we get to the end, we are going to single crochet in the back loop only. So as you can see, you've got your front loop and your back loop. So for the rest of them, we're going to single crochet in just this back loop. So this first one we went under both. Now we're just going to go under the back loops all the way across until we get to the very last stitch, and the very last stitch we'll single crochet under both of those. And that is what gives it that cool ribbed look. So again, turn it towards you where you can see that upside down, or that V, I guess it's not upside down, but that V, and then single crochet into just the back loop. And again, if you want to, you can mark this very first single crochet that you did, just so you know where to go in for the next row. So single crochet, back loop only, all the way across, and you should have, again, 43 single crochets. So see, doing this back loop pushes out this front loop, which gives it that ribbed look. Such a simple technique that has some pretty incredible results. I've used this for mini borders for blankets. So just single crochet, back loop only, all the way across until you get to the very last one. Okay, now we're coming to the very last single crochet of that row, and we're going to single crochet under both of those loops. And there is row 2 of our sleeve. Now on this end, from now on, you're going to chain 1 and then turn. So we don't chain 1 down here, but we do chain 1 at this end. So chain 1 and turn. And again, single crochet under both loops for that first stitch, and then single crochet back loop only until you get to the last stitch of this row. And again, you can see it pushing out those front loops, giving it that cool ribbed texture. Now we're at that last one. See, now that we have the stitch marker, you know exactly where to put your last stitch. So put a single crochet under both loops, that last one, and then mark it if you want, that last stitch. Now look for the next 2 stitches to do a slip stitch in the next 2. So as you can see right here, that's our slip stitch from the row before. So these next 2 rows, do a slip stitch and a second slip stitch, and then turn. And again, take out that stitch marker, do a single crochet under both loops, single crochet under both loops, and highly recommend marking it, and then single crochet back loop only all the way across until you get to the last stitch, and single crochet under both loops for that last stitch. And that is it for this sleeve until you get to the last row. So what I'm going to do is go ahead and finish this off camera, finish the rest of this off camera, and then let's meet back here when we have both finished the last row, or right before the last row, so I can show you where you're supposed to end that last row, because it does matter how many rows we have. And then we'll finish that last row together and we can start the seaming. So yeah, come into the last stitch, single crochet under both, chain 1 and turn. So there's what it's looking like so far. So I'm gonna do the rest of this and then we'll meet up back here again when we're ready to do the last row, and then I'll show you how to do the seaming. So I'm on the second to last row here, and I wanted to show you something before I do the last row here. So as you can see, the second to last row, we need to do 2 more slip stitches, but you can see we only have 1 stitch left here. So what I do is I slip stitch into the side. So I didn't want you to get to the end and worry that you've done something wrong or that you messed up. But this is a very forgiving pattern, so you can kind of just wing it as you go here. So like I said, we've been doing 2 slip stitches in the next, but we only have 1 stitch left in that row. So I do a slip stitch there, and then I do a slip stitch into that first edge stitch. And now we're going to do the final row of the sleeve. So for the extra small, small medium size, which is the sample, you should have 40 rows of the sleeve. And you want to end the sleeve up here, because now we're going to take that yarn and that we're going to seam the sleeve closed and part of the elbow part. So you don't want to end down here. You want to end up here so that you can seam the whole thing together. So that should be 40 rows. So now we're just doing the last row, and then we'll be ready to seam. And another thing that you can do as you're, so you know, I slip stitched into the next 2 stitches for this, but you know, my wrist and hand, you know, my wrist and forearm is going to be a different size than yours, even though, you know, this is the small, extra small size, extra small, small and medium. So what you might want to do as you're going is kind of take it and start, you know, if you're making it for yourself, kind of fold it around and make sure that the size is gonna work for you, because maybe you need to make it a little bit wider, and so you'll need to go into like maybe just slip stitch into 1 stitch instead of 2, if that makes sense. But this is very stretchy, So I think that if you are the size, you know, size extra small, small, or medium, that this 40 row count should probably work for you, but you might want to check it as you're going along just in case. Okay, now we're coming to the last stitch here. And now we're ready to seam it closed. So to seam it closed, so this is the right side of the fabric and this is the wrong side. So we are going to fold, move this thing. Like I said, this is a little tricky to work on this whole thing, and something just fell. Okay, so this is the right side. Now to seam it together, we are going to fold the right sides together like this. And that's how we're going to seam it closed. And we're just going to do it with the same hook, and we're just going to slip stitch in order to seam. So I forgot to say, when you finish that last row, chain one, which makes it a little bit easier. Now one thing you might want to do so that you're making sure that everything is matching up is to put a stitch marker on the last stitch on here and the last one on this side. And you can put a stitch marker there so that they're held together. Now remember, this last stitch is the single crochet edge that we did, and this one does not have the single crochet edge yet, but just find that very last one before you did that really long 44 chain. Find that last one and then join them together so that it is lining up correctly. Okay, look for that after you chained one, look for that first stitch from that row and first stitch from that row from that side, and now we're going to go under both of those loops and slip stitch it together. And now from here all the way down, we're going to go under both loops on this side, but then on this side, we are going to go under just the back loop, because this front loop will make it look really nice, will give it a really nice clean seam. So both loops on this side, back loop only on that side. So find that edge, both loops, this one, back loop only. And slip stitch. Both loops, back loop only on that side. And then when you turn it right side out, you'll see that you've got a really nice clean join there. So we're going to do this all the way until we get to the end right here. And then I will show you what we're going to do after that. So I'm going to finish this part off camera. Remember, going under both loops on this side, back loop only on that side. I'm going to go off camera and finish this off, and then join me back here to do the elbow part of the sweater scarf. This part right here is the beginning of the sleeve. So I'm going to go under both loops to give that a really solid join there. And now we are at the sweater scarf part. So the first scarf that I did, I stopped right here. The pink one that you've probably seen me show. I stopped right here and I didn't sew any of this part together. And while it still works and it still looks pretty, I just really liked how it fit better and how it stayed on me by seaming up a little bit on this part. Now this is where your elbow is. So not only does it just make it more just structurally sound, I think, but it also, I think it just looks better when it's on, because then your elbow isn't showing, if that makes sense. So this covers your elbow, and yeah, I just think it looks nicer. So if you don't like that, stop right here, and you can continue to do the single crochet on this edge. Or if, like me, you like your elbow to be covered up, we're gonna seam up about 11 rows. So take off that stitch marker. And for this, I'm gonna go under both loops on both sides, because this is a little bit looser over here, and it just gives it a little bit better structure. So go under all 4 loops on both sides, and same slip stitch. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 7, 8, 9, 10, and last one, 11. And for this last row, for the last one, 11, I'm going to chain 1 again, and then I'm going to do a couple of single crochets in that same stitch, just to give it, again, some more structure. So let me show you what this is looking like so far, hopefully without undoing this. So turning it, let's turn it right side out for a second so you can see what it looks like. So there's our join. So as you can see, it looks pretty clean because we left that front loop of one of the sides. And then this is our join for the shoulder, or for the elbow part. Okay, now we are ready to do the other side. So what you're going to do here, after we seam together those 11 rows and then do 2 more single crochets there just for some structure, now all we need to do is single crochet along this other edge so that it matches this edge. So you're going to find that next stitch, that next edge. And what I like to do on this side, as you can see, it's a little bit loose here. So I like to go under the front loop, the back loop, and then there's this little, like, let me grab. So the front loop, the back loop, and then there's this little like hidden third loop back here. So see, front loop, back loop, third loop. For this side, I like to go under all 3 of those, the front loop, the back loop, and that third loop, to do my single crochet border. So see, you should have 1, 2, 3. And just single crochet in every edge all the way until you get to the very end, and then you'll do the other sleeve. So see, that's how the single crochet edge is looking. And it's cool to do it like this because, like I said, you don't have to worry about all those, a lot of seaming and all the edges, you know, the ends to weave in, attaching your yarn and making a knot and all that. So this just gives us one piece. All we have to fasten off is the self-striping yarn. So I am going to finish, because this will take a while, I'm going to finish doing the single crochet into this edge and then meet you back over here, and we'll start the beginning of the other sleeve, and then we'll finish things off. I'm coming up to the end here, last stitch. And see, we've got our nice single crochet border all along that edge to match the other one. And now look for that first stitch on this short edge so that we can begin our sleeves. And you're just going to slip stitch into that one, and then again chain 44. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, 31, 32, 33, 34, 35, 36, 37, 38, 39, 40, 41, 42, 43, 44. And now it's just the same thing that we did in the other sleeve. Look for the second chain from the hook and single crochet into that. Single crochet all the way down, and you should have 43 single crochets. And like I said, this sleeve is done exactly like the other side. So by the time you get to the second sleeve, you'll be a pro. Okay, last chain, that should be 43. And now look for the next 2 stitches and do a slip stitch into the next 2 stitches. Oh, so also like we did before, you can mark that one so you don't get confused. So we slip stitched already into that first one, now we're slip stitching into the next 2. 1 and 2, and then turning. And for that first one, we do single crochet under both loops, and then for the rest of them, single crochet back loop only, marking that first stitch so that you know where your last stitch goes in on the next row. So single crochet, back loop only, all the way down until you get to the last stitch, and you single crochet under both loops for the last one. And then chain 1 and turn. So let's do this row together. And then let's do the next 2 rows together. And then I'll go off camera, finish the sleeve, and then we'll come back here and do the seaming again. Just want to make sure that you got the hang of it. I want to give you really great instruction. If the first sleeve made sense, then you don't need the second sleeve. Just fast forward through this tutorial and get to the end part. into the last two and single crochet under both loops for that one, chain one, and turn. Go under both loops and then back loop only the rest of the way down. Okay, coming to the last one. And now you can mark it if you want. You don't have to. I'll just leave that open. And now you can see that that was our last slip stitch. So now we're going to slip stitch into the next two. 1 and 2. And just continue what you're doing. Continue doing that for 40 rows. And again, on this side, same thing. You'll want to end, the 40th row should be at the top so that we can take that yarn and seam down this way. So go ahead and do those a few more rows and then meet back here together and we will seam it and finish off our scarf. And then let's finish this sleeve just like we did the other sleeve. And then we'll be ready to seam it down, then seam the elbow part, and then join it with a slip stitch, weave in all the ends, and you're done. So I have really enjoyed designing this sweater scarf, and also obviously I love making it because this is my third one. I really like making them. So I definitely see a lot more sweater scarf designs in my future. Maybe a regular crochet one. We'll see. Okay, getting close to being done with our single crochets. So again, go under both loops for that last one. And now we are ready to seam the sleeve together. Since you already know how to seam the sleeve from the first one, I'm going to do this one off camera, and then we'll come back together to do the 11 rows for the elbow and then fasten off, and then we'll be done. I've seamed the entire sleeve, and now I am at this part, which is the part that covers up your elbow. And just like the other side, we're going to go under both loops on this side and both loops on that side. And we're going to go up 11, do 11 of those. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Now I didn't mention this side has already been, you know, has the single crochet border. So both of these have the single crochet border. So we're just going under all of those loops on that single crochet border. So that's 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and 11. Chain 1, do 2 single crochets in that same spot. And then you're ready to fasten off and weave in all of your ends. So again, we did the 2 single crochets into that same last stitch to give it some structure so that it doesn't fall apart when we're wearing it. And now it's just time to weave in all of our ends. I do have people who ask me how I weave in my ends so that it is nice and secure. So I'll just go ahead and show that to you on camera real quick. So I'm going to go under those for a little bit more structure here. And then I like to go just under these side stitches here. Go under them one way. And then reverse and go the other way. Don't go under that last one you went under, but the next one. And just reverse it. And that really helps give it a solid that just really helps keep it from coming undone. Snip that off. Let's go ahead and do this one while we're here. And this one, I'll do it exactly like I just did the other one. Go under those side stitches. Pull it through and then go back the same way you came. It gives it a really nice hold. And that's pretty much all there is to how I seam things. And we are done with our sweater scarf. Now it's time to turn it inside out. There's the seam for the cuff and the elbow part. And now let's try it on.